Hi everyone, so this is the third time I've tried to do this video today and I just need to crack on through it because I didn't realise that's a 15-minute limitation and I didn't realise I talk that much. So I'm going to whiz through. This is the advice I would give after doing practical exams and after I really struggled with them. It was just some separate top tips to the things you should obviously already know that are like in your curriculum that will help you with your practical exams. So the first thing we're going to talk about is attire. So make sure your hair is tied back. If it's long, it needs to be in a bun. It doesn't need to cover your face. Your obviously earrings, I just take them out if you can. If not, obviously check with your examiner and tape them up. Makeup, make it natural. You're not on a night out, but I stand. Nails, my nails would not pass right now because they're a bit long and obviously they've got nail varnish on them, very chipped. So just make sure that they're short enough should you do any massage or anything that it's not going to like stab the horse that you're in. Clothing wise is an interesting one. So our university ended up like saying that they kind of wanted us in dark and navy clothes. So anything with a logo that's small, polo shirt that you can move in quite a lot, or a coat that you can move in. Make sure that the sleeves aren't too long that you know if you're massaging that the sleeves are getting in the way. Chinos as well rather than jeans because I just think they're more flexible and they look smarter. Shoes is an interesting one. For your equine exams, they need to be yard boots. That's not jumper boots, that's not riding boots, that's not muck boots, that's not wellies. They need to be yard boots. With the like socks that you can't see, like no long yard socks or riding socks. And obviously for the canine, either like what I call scrub shoes, which are the little sort of fabricy ones that you know you sort of see small animal vets wear, or trainers, and try and keep them dark with dark soles if possible, no bright colours, which I made the mistake of doing. So the next thing we're going to kind of talk about is sort of going into the exam. So the thing I found really helpful was actually just to take a breath just before you go in. Just take a breath in, hold for 5 seconds, come out again, realise you know what you're talking about, it's going to be fine. As you can tell, I talk really fast and it was getting really difficult because my brain was going a million times faster than my mouth was speaking and I was missing loads of stuff out and I just wasn't really being very methodical. So just go in, breathe and work from top to toe. So when you're talking to your examiner and your handlers, you need to be very positive, well, and the animals as well. So top tip is always keep patting your horse or your dog, keep telling them that they're amazing. Every time you do something, give them a pat or a stroke. Your handlers need just as much positive reinforcement. You kind of have to separate out the fact that they are your handler and you really need to make sure that you pretend that they don't know what they're doing because you will get marked down if you don't praise them enough. So that's another thing to consider. Make sure that your footwear is clean and obviously your hands are clean before you go in. Every time you show that you're doing hand sanitizer, it looks amazing, they love it, or like you're washing your boots or whatever, so think about that. And obviously make sure that whenever you're doing a part of your exam that you verbalise the fact that it's a nice safe area to do it. So you're not having the horse tied up to do anything, or you're getting a handler to hold them, or your dog to be sort of secured and things like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is gait assessment. Feel free to skip past this if it's not relevant to you. So again, I'm not going to run through what we're actually looking for because it's a list, you just got to learn it, unfortunately. Again, the first thing we mentioned to the examiner is we're looking for a safe space. So they need to be able to, well, dog and horse, walk and trot and turn. So you need to say there needs to be non-slippy, it needs to be a flat surface, that sort of thing. You are looking out for the health and safety of the handler. Is the horse a bit fresh? Will it need a bridle on? Are they in correct PPE? So they need hat, gloves, boots. And obviously with your gait assessment, you need all the space you can get essentially. So with a gait assessment, you need to be making sure that you're obviously looking in a cranial, caudal and lateral view. And obviously that's lateral needs to be both sides. So my top tip would be work from head to toe. So look what the head's doing, look what the neck's doing, look what the body's doing, and then look at each joint. That means you just can't miss anything in that case, because if you look at them in all views, like, you may repeat yourself, but you know you're not missing anything, so it's fine. So an important thing to say is you need to compare sides. So with the horse, you may also say that you want to see it lunged. You know, if you were in real life, you want to see it ridden, non-ridden, in the stable, in the field, that sort of thing. And for dogs, you may want to see them walking up steps, that sort of thing. It's just all verbalising things that you can say to your examiner to just give them the confidence that you know what you're talking about. The biggest mistakes you can make with the assessments is assuming that the handler knows what they're doing. So just tell them what they're doing anyway, and essentially just learn the list. Like, it's not, unfortunately, it's like one of those things that's not that difficult to do. You just got to just make sure that you just go through the motions, but it will set the tone for the rest of the exam, which is quite nice. So the second thing we're going to talk about is range of motion. So I hate range of motion with a passion. I sort of hate everything about it. Obviously love what it does, but I hate the exam part of it. It's not very nice. So the first thing you need to be saying before you're even thinking about doing your joint range of motion is, before you panic and think, what is that joint? You know what that joint is, but you need to be saying what you're looking for before you actually start it. So you need to make sure that you palpate it before you start. So you're feeling for heat, swelling, fibrosis, sort of any enlargement, if you're getting a big pain reaction upon palpation, that sort of thing, because that all open wounds as well, because that's going to mean that you're not going to do it, or you're definitely going to proceed with caution. You also need to say that you're going to take into account the horse's or dog's clinical history before you do it as well. So during your range of motion assessment, you need to verbalise that you are feeling for the joint quality. You know, is it smooth? Is it quite a supple joint, essentially? Are you getting any crepitus or clicking? How's your end feeling? Is it hard? Is it soft? Does it feel thick and like fibrotic? How's the flexion and extension? You know, is it limited, or have you got hypermobility or laxity at all? Your pain response, if you're getting a pain response, you need to be grading it. You obviously need to check for symmetry as well, because that will show up quite a lot, and obviously any restriction. So whilst you're carrying this out, do the range of motion slowly. I cannot tell you how many times you've been pulled up on doing it too fast. You can't really do it too slowly. Take it right to end point, but don't push past end point. If the horse is going to turn around and bite you, you're not doing well. Keep it in the sagittal plane. That's another big one. Don't hold the ROM. It's not a stretch. It's just flexion extension, just consistently moving it. Do it 3 to 5 times. Show that you know that you're looking for a repeated response if you've seeing a pain response. And like I said before, you need to note any restrictions or any crepitus or any pain or anything. So quickly moving on to stretches, because I'm aware so much time has gone past. Obviously you're going to know all your massage benefits. You're going to know what to do. It's going to be fine. Sort of top tips are, don't forget to warm up the tissue. Please don't. Make your first instinct to just touch the area you're feeling, so it will click your brain into going, I need to warm this tissue up. Even if you just show 2 minutes of flabby effleurage, don't make it rubbish, do it well, but you need to verbalise that you need to warm the tissue up for 5 to 10 minutes, or you need to be doing it post exercise. In a switch, still show them, if you're doing it after a gait assessment, still show them you're warming up the tissue anyway, because otherwise they don't know. With your stretch, obviously you're going to list the benefits. You obviously, again, before you even start, you're going to say, is there any open wounds, blah 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 blah. With your stretch, count to 10. I know it's 7, you can do it for a minimum of 7. Literally count out loud to 10. That shows the examiner you know what you're doing. Say you're going to do it repeated times. Get them marks. Obviously you're going to list off all the benefits and what's happening, but it's really important that you actually do the basics, because it's very easy to just swing on and actually forget about what you should be saying. Massage and electrotherapies, again, I'm going to kind of group them together. So you should know what you're doing. You should have done the settings at this point. Again, before you even start, you're going to be listing off what you're not going to do with the electrotherapies or the massage. So if the animal is pregnant, you're going to have to be very careful / not do it at all. If there's any open wounds or you're at an acute stage of injury, over bony landmarks, over areas of hypersensitivity, skin conditions, if animal or owner has heart conditions, you're going to have to be very careful with the electrotherapies. So state that. Yes, so moving on to remedial exercise prescription, because we're really having to swing through this. There's lots of top tips for this because it's quite easy to do wrong. The first is know your wound healing, because if you don't know your wound healing, then you're screwed. Know how long your tissue types take to heal as well, because that'll just help you. Think about your traffic light system when you go down. So red, is there pain? And if there is pain, it needs to be at 50% of what it was to continue through to your amber phase, which is, because you're not going to do anything in the red phase, which is you're doing your ROM, flexibility, proprioception, all of that sort of thing. That's in your amber phase. Then obviously your green phase is really cracking on with your REP, back to kind of active exercises and that sort of thing. So some things that I've done wrong in my REP that I regret is not taking the rider off if the horse is tripping. Even if the vet has said it's fine for the horse to continue, leave the rider off anyway, because there's a risk that the horse could trip over and land on them. They need to be doing stuff on the ground instead. With small animals casts, if the vet has said in a scenario that only the physio can take off the cast, or if they've just said physio to take off cast, infer that means that the owner shouldn't be doing it because it's too acute for them to be doing it. So just don't give them any exercises that would require them removing that cast. When you're writing down your REP goals, think about it in terms of short, medium and long, and that's kind of a bit like your traffic light system. So your short goals are obviously to remove pain, remove lameness, increase weight bearing. Your medium length goals are going to be like, increasing ROM, increasing flexibility, muscle mass, that sort of thing. And obviously your long-term goals are, returning back to normal function or improving it, sort of increasing endurance, muscle mass, and obviously muscle symmetry and strength. So really do practice writing down your REP tables, and I'll put some links in below for some really good textbooks that had lots of scenarios and what exercises they give them and kind of on what time scale. So there's other websites as well, like Noel Fitzpatrick's website. If you look at them, lots of their main small animal conditions, they list what they do physio wise for it, which would be really helpful and you should definitely look at. Another thing for REP is don't let your owner stretch, or don't let anyone stretch within the first 72 hours of injury. That's a definite no-no. And just try and learn the conditions as best as possible. When you're reading through it, look at ages and things. So if it's a 2-year-old horse, don't start putting training aids on it or something. Or if it's 23-year-old horse, don't expect the healing to be really fast or anything. Just use your common sense and slow down and highlight it and go, is this going to affect my plan? That's the sort of the only advice I can give you. It's not, but I'd need to do a much longer video for that. So I'm gonna have to finish the video there. I know it's quite short and I really had to whiz through it, but I've literally done this video so many times. I can do lots of top tips per exam section. Obviously that's just for the college I went to, and I obviously might have changed it anyway. If you would like to hear a bit more, I can kind of go through things that I've been marked down on, or things that I have previously failed for or not done so well in an exam for in my practical exams, and it might be able to help you at the end of the day. So let me know. You can contact me at Impetus Veterinary Physiotherapy on Facebook. You can contact me on Instagram at Impetus Vet Physio, and I'd love to hear if this has been any help to you. I know it's a bit basic, but there's just some things in there that I completely forgot about. So anyway, hope it goes well, and kudos to you for having to do your exams through all the craziness going on now. So best of luck.